Let me ask you a question that probably never kept you awake at night, but maybe it should. It's a question that hides in plain sight, tucked away in the colorful aisles of your local garden center, whispering from the glossy pages of seed catalogs. What if I told you that some of the seeds you buy every spring are designed, on a genetic level, to make you a perpetual customer? Not through loyalty programs or catchy jingles, but through a hidden biological switch. What if I told you that inside that tiny promising kernel is a biological time bomb, a pre-programmed obsolescence that goes off in your second season, leaving you with a garden full of disappointment and a wallet that's magically open again, ready to buy the exact same solution you thought you already owned? This isn't about a sinister law, though those exist, believe me. We could talk for hours about patents and intellectual property rights that treat life itself like a piece of software. But this is about something much more clever, much more fundamental, and much more powerful. A biological secret that has shaped modern agriculture. Today, we're not talking politics. We're not getting into partisan debates. We're talking plant sex, corporate cleverness, and most importantly, how you can crack the code to unlock a garden that feeds you forever, breaking free from a cycle you might not have even known you were in. Okay, let's start with a little story. A parable for the modern gardener. You buy a packet of amazing, giant, disease-resistant tomatoes. The picture on the front is perfect. The description promises a harvest of biblical proportions. You plant them, you water them, you grow them, and they're incredible. Just like the packet promised. The best tomatoes you've ever had. Juicy, flavorful, and the plants are vigorous, shrugging off pests and blight. You're a gardening genius. Your neighbors are jealous. You've finally cracked it. So, being a smart prepper, a savvy homesteader, you do the logical thing. You carefully save the seeds from the biggest, best tomato on the healthiest plant. Next year, you plant those saved seeds with proud confidence, already tasting those glorious summer sandwiches. You've beaten the system. And what do you get? A pathetic, scrawny plant with tiny, sad, mealy fruits that look nothing like their magnificent parent. Some are small and sour, others are misshapen and bland. What happened? Your gardening mojo, your green thumb. Did it just vanish? Did you forget to talk to them nicely? Did you use the wrong fertilizer? Did you offend the garden gnomes? No. You just fell victim to one of the oldest, most ingenious tricks in the agribusiness book, the F1 hybrid. Alright, quick riddle to prime your brain for the science. I am the child of a carefully arranged marriage, but my own children are a genetic mess, a chaotic lottery of traits. I am strong, uniform, and predictable, but my lineage is a dead end. My excellence ends with me. What am I? If you guessed a first-generation hybrid, give yourself a gold star. You're already ahead of the curve. Now let's get to the juicy details of how this brilliant and slightly frustrating piece of biology works. Think of it like this. Imagine you have two purebred heirloom tomato plants. These are plants that have been bred true for generations. Plant A is bred over generations to be incredibly robust and disease-resistant. It's a survivor. But its tomatoes are kind of small and ugly, maybe a little too acidic. Plant B is a prima donna, weak, fussy, susceptible to every fungus that blows by on the wind. But it produces tomatoes so beautiful and tasty they belong in a magazine. Now, a seed company plays matchmaker. In a highly controlled environment, they take the pollen from the tough-as-nails plant A and carefully, painstakingly fertilize the flower of the diva, plant B. The resulting seeds from that specific cross are the F1 hybrid, the first filial or first-generation offspring. And in genetics, there's a phenomenon called hybrid vigor. This first generation often gets the best of both worlds, the disease resistance and strength from parent A, and the amazing fruit quality from parent B. It's like creating a superstar athlete by combining the genes of a marathon runner for endurance and a weightlifter for pure power. You get a monster plant, a perfect, uniform, high-performing specimen. That's what you bought at the store. That's your incredible, brag-worthy first-year tomato. But here's the catch. The biological fine print. When that F1 hybrid plant grows up and creates its own seeds, the ones you saved, those seeds are now F2, the second generation, and they are a complete genetic lottery. The carefully arranged dominant traits from the grandparent plants that made the F1 so perfect now segregate and scramble randomly. It's basic Mendelian genetics. You might get a plant that takes after the weak, fussy grandparent or the ugly fruit grandparent. You might get one that's strong but produces no fruit at all, or some other weird, unpredictable combination in between. The one thing you almost never get is that F1 superstar again. The magic is gone. And because the seed company guards the identity and the pure genetic lines of the parent plants like state secrets, you can't recreate the cross yourself. So, to get that superstar performance again, you have to go back to the matchmaker. You have to return to the source. You have to buy new F1 seeds every single year. It's a biological subscription service, a masterpiece of recurring revenue built on nature itself. You're not buying a product, you're renting genetics for a single season. Now contrast this with the ancient open-source software of the plant world, Heirloom or open-pollinated seeds. These are the old-school varieties, passed down for generations, sometimes for centuries. Their genetic code is stable. When you save seeds from an heirloom tomato, and you've taken simple steps to keep it from cross-pollinating with your neighbor's weird experimental pepper, those seeds will grow true to type. The child will be nearly identical to the parent. The delicious Brandywine tomato you grow this year will produce seeds for an equally delicious Brandywine tomato next year. You can save them, replant them, trade them with friends, and become the master of your own genetic supply chain. This is how humanity farmed for 10,000 years. It's a system built on sharing, adaptation, and abundance. In this model, you weren't a customer, you were a steward, a guardian of a genetic legacy. So how do you fight back? How do you opt out of the biological subscription and reclaim your role as a steward? It's simpler than you think. First, learn to read the seed packet like a detective. The clues are right there. If it says F1, hybrid, or sometimes even has a little disclaimer like, not for seed saving, you know what you're dealing with. It might be a great one-year plant, a fantastic seasonal rental, but don't expect its children to be useful for your self-sufficiency goals. Second, actively seek out the good stuff. Look for packets that proudly say, heirloom, open-pollinated, or great for seed saving. These are your tickets to freedom. Third, start simple. You don't have to become a master botanist overnight. Some of the easiest seeds to save are from self-pollinating plants like tomatoes, beans, peas, and lettuce. Their flowers are designed to pollinate themselves, making it much harder for them to accidentally cross with other varieties. With a tomato, you literally just squeeze some seeds and pulp from your best, fully ripe fruit into a jar with a little water. Let it ferment for a few days to break down the gel coating that inhibits germination. Then rinse, dry them thoroughly on a paper plate, and you're done. You've just created next year's food for free. It's an almost magical act of multiplication. With that simple act, you've broken the cycle. You've taken back control. Riddle answer time. Of course, the answer is the F1 hybrid seed, the superstar with no legacy. And now that you know its secret, you are officially smarter than a seed catalog marketing department. You can see behind the curtain. But let's be clear, this isn't just about saving a few bucks on seeds, though that's a nice bonus. It's about sovereignty. It's about independence. In a world where supply chains are fragile and can be disrupted by anything from a pandemic to a single ship getting stuck in a canal, having a library of seeds you control is the ultimate insurance policy. It's the difference between being dependent on a system you can't control and being a self-contained, resilient node within it. It's a fundamental step toward genuine preparedness. Every heirloom seed you save is a tiny act of defiance. It's a protest against planned obsolescence in the most vital area of our lives, our food. It's a vote for a world where you own the means of production, right down to the genetic code that sprouts from the soil in your own backyard. So next time you're at the garden center, Look past the flashy photos and the impossible promises on the hybrid packets. See them for what they are, a one-season rental. Instead, seek out the heirlooms, the oddballs, the varieties with stories and history baked into their DNA. The Cherokee purples, the black crims, the mortgage lifters. Plant them, taste their history, save their seeds, and become part of a chain that stretches back centuries and, with your care, can stretch forward indefinitely. Your garden shouldn't be a one-night stand, a fleeting summer romance that you have to pay for again and again. It should be a lifelong relationship, a partnership that grows stronger and more resilient every year. And it all starts with knowing the secret in the seed.